Of course, our top focus this hour is sports and sports. We're talking about cricket, and when it comes to cricket, this is the IPL season. Now, it's the business end of the Indian Premier League, and a couple of points separate several teams that are queued up in a traffic jam on the points table. The middle of the points table is absolutely jam packed. The Royal Challengers Bengaluru had their bags already packed to be the first ones to exit the tournament. But a surprising run of four back-to-back victories has meant that the RCB team is still in the contention for the playoffs, although their fate rests on other teams. Now, the clash between Delhi Capitals and RCB in a short while from now promises to be more than what the point table suggests. Both the teams enter the match in good form, with Delhi winning 3 out of their last 4 games and RCB, like I told you, winning 4 out of 4. Now, Delhi, however, will face challenges with their skipper Rishabh Pant being absent from the game due to a ban. Axar Patel, on the other hand, will be leading the side as Delhi aims to maintain their momentum. Rain could disrupt the match, and while washout would favour Delhi's playoff chances, it'll be curtains for Bengaluru. So, what exactly is now the Bengaluru's future looking like, and also what exactly are the futures of other teams looking like in this particular IPL? To discuss that and a lot more, joining me on the broadcast is Chandresh Narayanan, who's an author and a sports broadcaster. Chandresh, appreciate you for taking out your time. Just a short while to go before the game begins. Before we get into the details of this particular match or any particular team, help me understand what's been your idea of this IPL. How's the IPL panned out to be? Has it been as per your expectations? What's the pitches played like? And also, who have been the top contenders for the players of the tournament?
Thanks a lot for having me, Ashish. I think the IPL this year has been played in two halves. The first half saw a lot of runs being scored, and the second half, we've not seen that many runs being scored. Even the game that is presently on in Chennai, Chennai is finding it difficult to chase down 140 odd. So it's been played in two halves, and it's possible because of the fact that the pitches are dying at the end of the long season of matches. And I think that what has really stood out for me is the fact that teams that have done well have continued to doing well. So like Kolkata, Hyderabad, Rajasthan has faced a few hiccups on the way, but these top three teams have continued to do well. And it's really been a fight for the fourth slot, in my view, on the points table. And I think that's why it's made it even more interesting. Like you said, that the fourth slot, in my view, has become even more open. And that makes the tournament a spectacle to watch. And I think that's why we like to tune into IPL every year. In terms of the players of the tournament, there are a few contenders. I think if I were to look at one person to be the player of the tournament, then it would be Sunil Narayan. Simply because of the fact that he's bowled well, he's batted well. And I think his batting at the top of the order has been a big difference in the way Kolkata has performed this year. And opening with Phil Salt, he's made a tremendous impact on the tournament and on his team's performances this year. So I think he stands out for me as the player of the tournament. Obviously, Virat has done well with the bat. Bumrah has done well with the ball. There are others who have been knocking on the doors with the ball, like Harshal Patel, for example. Varun Chakravarti has done
Absolutely.
well.
I think a lot of credit
And
for
some
that
of the
also,
others
Chandresh, has to go to Gautam Gambhir, because I think I heard Rant and Duskade also speaking somewhere that they had been trying to convince Sunil Narayan in other leagues as well to bat higher up the order, but he refused. But ever since Gambhir has come back to KKR, and ever since Gambhir asked Sunil Narayan to do so, he's readily agreed, and we've all seen how Kolkata Knight Riders completely feels like a different team this time around. But you're talking about the number 4 spot, and at least 5 teams are in contention for it. And the top focus, of course, is on Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Every year, I feel Royal Challengers Bengaluru fans have two halves. I've been a fan myself. I'm from Bengaluru. The first half, everyone's cheering for their teams. The second half, everyone's watching the match with a calculator in hand. So mathematically, help us understand what are the chances of RCB Chennai Super Kings. From what I understand, is almost on the verge of winning this game. They won this game, from what I understand. So what are RCB's chances right now?
see, Bengaluru have to do uh, what Lord Krishna told Arjun. Just keep doing your stuff. Forget about the result. So I think what they've been doing for the last couple of weeks, and they've opened up the table with their performances. They need to keep doing that, irrespective of what happens in the rest of the table. It's an uphill task. You have to be honest with it. Bengaluru right now are on 10 points, and I think from here on it's going to be a big, big uphill task because remember, at best they can only go to 14, which means that they have to hope against hope that a side like Hyderabad loses their last two games, Delhi loses their last two games, Lucknow loses their last two games, and then that opens up the possibility of them making it to the playoffs as the fourth team. Because if any of the other teams win one match, that's curtains for Bengaluru. So I think what will hurt Bengaluru this year is that one-run loss to Kolkata in Kolkata, which was a tremendous chase that they almost scripted, and they missed out by just one run. If they had crossed the line then, they would have been in a better position right now than what they are right now. So I think that that is what will hurt them right now much, a lot more.
Right. When you look back, really, those games, which of course look like they didn't matter much, now suddenly look like that one game, those two games which were close, which RCB could have turned the fortunes. Now, let's also talk about the other teams right now, Delhi Capitals, which of course has had a mixed season this year. I mean, it's one of those teams that doesn't really excite you that much at times, but also at the same time, they're not really out of the contention. Like, for example, we saw James McGurk there coming out with such incredible innings. I mean, one of the cleanest hitters of the ball in anywhere in the world. In fact, Maxwell called him the best batter in Australia. There's a reason for that. But when you look at teams like Delhi Capitals, what do you think of their chances? Because they are also in contention, but at the same time, they don't really have that killer, that X factor that you look at in a champion team.
Absolutely right. And they haven't looked a champion team at all. And I think what has happened for Delhi Capitals is the fact that their bowling core went away at the previous mega auction. And they've only been building, rebuilding since then. And this 3 year cycle that they've had, it's been a case of missed opportunities because last year you didn't have Rishabh Pant. This year, David Warner has gone completely off the boil. And they've been finding it difficult to get back the old mojo that they had in the previous 3 year cycle. And I think somewhere their batting does not inspire confidence. Now Jake Fraser McGurk has come in at the expense of David Warner and has made a huge difference. Their overseas players have not really pulled their weight. Anrik Norke a few years ago was the linchpin of their bowling attack. This time around, he's coming back after a surgery, after a long injury layoff. He's not at his best. He's not bowling as he was before this injury layoff. All these factors put together have made a huge difference and dented Delhi's chances of making it to the playoffs. They can still make it to the playoffs, but it's going to be a long haul from here. But at least the way they have fought back, initially this year they seemed like all down and out and completely out of the picture. I think the fact that they have fought back brilliantly shows that there is some fire in their belly. And I think there are some bright spots in their lineup like Abhishek Porel, Jake Fraser McGurk, Kuldeep Yadav bowling well. All these factors put together makes Delhi a side to watch out for. Maybe not this year. Maybe if they do well at the mega auction, they'll be able to do well in the coming years.
Right. A lot depends on the mega auction, and there are of course talks of the RCB fans now asking for their local boy back. We're talking about KL Rahul. Let's not get into that debate. A lot of speculation there. But for you, Chandresh, which is now the standout team right now? Because initially the first half of the tournament, Rajasthan seemed to be winning everything that came their way. They just had everything worked out, or at least it looked so when it came to chasing or batting first or whatever it was. But now, Kolkata Knight Riders, I mean, just the combination that they have, and Gautam Gambhir just has this magic of finding players and then slotting them, giving them the role that perfectly fits for them. We saw that in case of Yusuf Pathan, Sunil Narayan in those 2012, 2014 days as well. And now looks like that same old KKR with that killer instinct is back. And again, looks like they seem to be the standout team right now.
Absolutely, you're right. And I think KKR initially seemed a bit shaky to me, but the way they have pulled things together and brought the side together has been fantastic. And I think full credit to the support staff led by Gautam Gambhir. Obviously, Chandrakant Pandit was there last year as well. But I think they needed somebody like Gautam Gambhir to bridge the gap between somebody who's played current international cricket and somebody who's played previous international cricket previously. I think last year the big difference was the fact that Chandrakant
Right.
Pandit, who's a fantastic coach at the Ranji Trophy level, uh, maybe couldn't bridge the gap at the highest level. But this time, with Gautam Gambhir being around, it made a huge, huge difference, and it has really fitted in very well. I think Sunil Narayan opening, Phil Salt, we shouldn't forget him. He wasn't initially in any squad this year. He came in only because Jason Roy pulled out at the last minute. So he has pulled his weight.
Right. Right.
Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Mitchell Stark and his price tag, but apart from Mitchell Stark, Varun Chakravarti has bowled tremendously. I think he definitely deserves a second look in India's T20 squad, possibly after the T20 World Cup. Sunil Narayan has done well with the ball. Harshit Rana has made a big difference. And I think all these factors put together, this side is looking well, and I think it's gelling well as a unit. And who knows, this could well be the year that they get the cup back. After 10 long years. You never know.
Right, Chandresh, you're talking about Varun Chakravarti and whether he deserves a second call in. I mean, talking of the mystery spinner, it was so hyped up that against that Pakistan game, I think every Indian fan stopped using the word mystery spinner since then. We haven't heard of it anywhere in Indian cricket since then. But on a lighter note, that of course being said, our focus, this is again a circus drama that we can call the IPL in a build up to the T20 World Cup. The focus, the bigger focus for all the Indian players is the T20 World Cup. And one worrying thing, now this is of course, I'm running short of time on the broadcast. This is the last question that I'm asking you. This is again a lot of focus on the T20 World Cup. A lot of Indian players. One worrying trend that we've seen is that ever since the squad was announced, majority of the players who are in that squad haven't been performing well, except the likes of Jasprit Bumrah and Virat Kohli. Is this a sort of a worry for Team India fans, or again, is this something? I mean, we shouldn't really be taking that seriously because it's going to be a completely different ball game when it comes to the T20 World Cup.
Ashish, I'll tell you one thing that if I can assure the fans of India that this format is very easy to get out of form and get into form. It's that kind of a format, and it will be completely different at the T20 World Cup because there'll be no impact player. You will be taking on international bowlers. All of them will be international bowlers here. It is very easy to sort of get into a comfort zone sometimes. I'm not saying that it's easy because there are a couple of 2-3 bowlers who are not capped bowlers who have not played international cricket. So I think that we shouldn't get too worried about it. I keep giving the examples to everybody that, back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, or whenever, when there used to be long tours, on tours, you used to have tour games, and there used to be cricketers who would look completely out of their depth in the tour games. But when it comes to international cricket, they would just switch on. And I'm expecting the same thing to happen with India's players as well, because they are two separate things. You might have a very small ground in New York. Right now, we are only seeing photos. You might have a very small ground in New York, and that could be the invitation for someone like Rohit Sharma to strike form, someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal to strike big. You never know because the conditions are going to be completely different,
Right.
completely
Right.
different challenge. And I think the big difference is going to be the fact that the jersey that you're wearing is not of your franchise but of India. So there's even more responsibility on you. Pressure, yes, but responsibility more to come good at that highest level.
Absolutely, Chandresh. You're talking about all those long tours way back. I remember reading in a book somewhere that one of the biggest concerns of the touring sides, the Australian side or the England side, way back, even pre World War era, was that the fact that they used to get seasick because they were traveling for weeks for a cricketing tour. Of course, very interesting these days. But appreciate you joining us on the broadcast. We're of course keeping a very close eye on the IPL and also what this means for India as far as the T20 World Cup is concerned. Appreciate you joining us with all your expertise there, and of course we'll keep joining you back as we build in for the T20 World Cup. Meanwhile, time for a short break, viewers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.